I'm going to bring.
Hi, welcome to the RAMS Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeat and referral closings by implementing the Referral Agent Mastery System into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, a co-founder of RAMS Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of RAMS Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Yes, it's a good day to be in real estate. All right, cool. So we're sitting here in mid-February, February 18th, getting started, getting ramped up for our, not only for the month, but for the year. This is the perfect time to be in real estate as most markets are going to pick up here in the spring and get real active. So make sure that you're engaging fully right now. You should be fully engaged with all of your people. We talk a lot about PCSOI here, past clients and sphere of influence, and this is the time to be engaged with those folks. Can't emphasize that enough. If you have free time and you don't know what to do, reach out to someone in your PCSOI. Put a plan together to reach out to your PCSOI all at once. Do an event. Do something to reach out to these people. This is the time because people are talking about moving privately in their bedrooms and in their houses and in their at work. I mean, they're all getting that spring itch, that spring fever, and so this is the time to be out there in front of them. All right, so let's do this. Let's start with some good news. Who has some good news that they would like to share?
I'll get mine out of the way. I had a call. Actually, I'm sorry. It was a Facebook message from through Messenger. Just I guess it was on Friday, and the gentleman Terrence had contacted me. I knew him. He was really just an acquaintance that I'd come across. That we didn't know each other at all. In fact, it took me a while to kind of put together who he was. But he said, "Hey, I've got a credit score of 550 and I've got income. My wife has a good credit score, 700, but not any income. How hard is it going to be to get a house?" And so I replied to him and kind of told him from my experience, but I said, I'm speaking out of turn. A lender's who's going to need to talk to you. So would that, and I used, this is what I'm happy about, is I used one of your lines, Mike. I said, I I know several good lenders that could help guide you through this. And I said, yes, you're not in a position probably today to buy a house, but they'll get you on the right track. And I said, I can connect you with somebody to Monday. Would that be helpful? That's I was happy of that. And anyway, he responded back, yes, that would be helpful. So I've connected him with a lender and we'll go from there. Maybe that'll be late in the year, maybe it'll be next year, but we're definitely getting him on the track to buy a house.
That's awesome, Blake. Congratulations. That's a great tagline, right? Would that be helpful?
Yes, it was great. It was perfect. Instead of, hey, would you like me to do this or whatever, which might have been okay too, but I used, would that be helpful?
That's perfect. Yeah. It's funny how our brain starts picking up the dialogue when we hear it more and more, right?
Yeah.
The idea of who you're around matters. If you want to see what the odds are of you becoming, look at your five closest friends because all that rubs off on us. Uh, Very good. And Blake, where did that come from? Where do you know where the lead came
Yeah,
from? You figured
I
out?
do. Because he was, in my Facebook. He and I are friends on Facebook. I had met him through a church organization that he and I had just spent a couple of days together. Not even in the same area, but in the same room. So and I guess at that time he's a plumber, so it may have been that we discussed that some. I don't know, but anyway, I don't remember exactly how it all connected, but it was definitely through a group that I was a part of.
Is that part of your, is he part of your formal PCSOI or do you think he's like on the edge of it?
Oh, very much on the edge. Very much on the edge. Not, I would not have, like I said, I had to take a minute to put him in my mind where he was. We would not have probably stopped each other in the grocery store and said, "Hey, what's going on with the kids?" or whatever. No, my PCSOI is more of that grocery store litmus test that you've given me.
And I have a theory based on what you've said that you've got your PCSOI you're reaching out to through social media, and it just kind of went out further, one level further out, and it picked him up. Is that correct? You think that's right?
Well, at some point because he was one of my Facebook friends. So at some point, he and I had, I don't ask many people at all to be friends on social media. I do it very rarely. And it's because I don't want to create a list of people that I don't know very well. So at some point, he had contacted me and asked me to be a Facebook friend. So, um, and we had at least done that much. It wasn't just a random out. Well, it was kind of random, but it was not somebody that was connected to some of my people.
Very good. Well, Blake, thanks for sharing that good news. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
And good luck with that. All right.
Thank you.
So, who else has some good news you'd like to share?
I'll share some good news. Morning, everybody.
Morning, Steve.
Yeah, we had so we did a listing appointment about 10 days ago, and we knew that we were up against at least one other agent. So, we just did what we did, laid it out. And last night had another meeting with the fellow and found out that we landed it. So, very exciting. And it's kind of like right in the timeline that I'm like, okay, this would be perfect if we get one more transaction in this little window. So yeah, we're objectively looking towards March 6th, which is kind of a, go, go, go. We'll get things in line. We got our preferred list of contractors out to him to do some little, fixes and repairs in the home to get it really ready to go. And really excited to work with this guy. He's a super nice guy.
Congratulations. That's fantastic
Thank you.
news. That's great. Now, where did this business come from?
So we actually listed a home on the same street. I would say, I guess it was summer of 23. And yeah, and just through the process, something I really like to do, I think I might have shared it here, is going around to all the neighbors, inviting them to the open house, saying hello, asking them what they like about the neighborhood. I really like doing that because then at the open house, I can say, oh, so and so. Their kids go to Boy Scouts, and there's a scout troop just 5 minutes from here. I feel like beyond just the opportunity for future business, which is, a reason in of itself to do. I like to have some neighborhood intel that's like on the ground, direct point of conversation to offer some insights to folks that come through the open house. So yeah, it was just a connection from a previous listing, which again, I'm pretty stoked about. That's pretty organic for us.
Now, did you keep up with this person? You met them 2 years ago. Did you put them in your database and continuously follow up, or did they just somehow get your information and reach back out? Did you do anything
Yeah,
actively to keep the relationship going?
great question. And not particularly, other than just making sure they had our information and trying to establish a point of contact and a relationship with the person at that time. So yeah, I didn't. And that's one thing I'm just kind of on the fence on. I don't often at open houses make it an objective to get numbers, and it's more about information and connection and make sure they have my number. So I'd love some insight on that as to maybe a soft approach to get contact information. I know he did sign up on our website, so he was getting monthly newsletters.
Okay,
But yeah,
there's the
beyond that, it
connection.
was a soft touch with the monthly newsletters.
Yes. So that may be your offer that you make when you meet with them, right?
Hmm.
You could offer them the monthly newsletter. And the way to, a possible way to frame that is, hey, Steve, I send something out to your neighbors. I'm not sure if you would be interested in it. Let me tell you what it is. Blah, blah, blah. Would you like to get that also?
Love it.
Okay. By
Yeah.
by creating that social context that you're putting it out to the neighbors, or other neighbors are getting it. Other neighbors have requested it, which I assume is true, right? You're sending it out to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
That creates more desire for people. I've tested that actually even recently by using that phraseology. Your neighbors are getting this. Your neighbors have asked me to send this. And it just seems to work a lot better that way.
Great suggestion, Mike. I appreciate that. And with this one, I'll be going to all the neighbors again. So it'll give me like a really great way to test that out right away. So yeah, no, I
Perfect.
appreciate that.
Let me tell you one other little twist on that is you'll have to check in your MLS, but a lot of the MLSs will, I have a free service that comes out of my MLS that it's called eProperty Watch. There may be a different term, but the concept is that if you put somebody into the system, they'll receive a monthly update on the value of their home, right? There's a lot of different programs out there, some free, some cost. This is a free one that I get with my MLS. And so that's why I say go check that first. It's a free service for a lot of people. And that's the offer that I'll make to someone. I'll say, hey, is okay if, let me walk you through some phraseology to get there. Maybe this will help. So you meet somebody, you hit it off, and you say, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling real estate? Now, you don't say it directly like that, but that's kind of the way it comes about. You basically say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? And they say, not right now. And you say, hey, no problem, no problem. Hey, let me ask you this. If you were to ever buy or sell real estate, is there an agent, a local agent that you would use? And if they say, yeah, and they start telling you all the details, you go, great, it's probably not going anywhere. It's my brother, it's my cousin, whatever. But most people are going to say, no, I don't really have anybody. And you say, well, fantastic. I know you're not going to buy anything now, but I assume you may buy or sell something maybe 5, 10, 20 years from now, somewhere down the line. Would it be okay if I stayed in touch with you? And if they say yes, you say, great. What's your best email address? Now I'm starting to get contact information. And what I'll do there is I'll say, hey, at the end, I'll say, hey, you know what? I'm going to send out to you. I'm going to stay in touch with you by email. And one of the things I'd like to send out to you right away is a valuation on your home. This is a automated system. It's not going to be perfect, but it's actually surprisingly accurate. I'd love to get your opinion on whether you think it's accurate. And I'll just send this to you by email. Go ahead and look at it. If it looks good and you want to receive it in the future, just click on any of the buttons in the email and you'll be subscribed, and you can unsubscribe at any time. And then every 30 days or so, it's going to send you an update on the value of your home. By the way, it's also going to show you your neighbors' properties when they list their home. You can click a button and you can see pictures of the inside of their home. Do you think that would be valuable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, the things that get them is like seeing the inside of the neighbor's home. That really gets them excited. Just the feedback that I get. That's when people go, yeah, that's what I wanted. Before I added that phrase, I wasn't getting as many people to say yes.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, so that's kind of the path you start walking them down. Just a little outline that you can use. And again, the idea is, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling? However you're going to do that, either directly or indirectly. And if they say, so I'm just repeating this idea. If they say no, not right away, say, hey, no problem. Is there a local agent you would use if you decided that you would buy or sell real estate? If they say no, say, great. I'd love to help you when that day comes, even if it's 5, 10, 20 years from now. Do you mind if I stay in touch with you? Which they'll typically say yes. Say, great. Then what's your email address? See, by the way, that's a nice lead in. You don't say, what's your email address right away. You say, is it okay if I follow up with you? You have permission. And then you say, hey, what's your email address? And they give it to you. And then you say, hey, by the way, is this your cell phone? If you're on the phone, is this your cell phone number? In person, you can say, hey, let me just make sure I got your name right. And you get their information. You start collecting the contact info. And then you let them know that you'll stay in touch with them by email. And then I like to add the idea that I'm going to send them out this piece of value this valuation on their home. And I go a step further to let them know that they've got to click a button in there to get it. And I'll tell them, I'll also tell them, if you don't click any buttons, you won't receive this email ever again. Because they do. In this system, they have to click on it. So I'm instructing them on what's going to happen. I'm foreshadowing what's going to happen down the line. Anyway, that's something that you may try, Steve. What do you think about that?
I really like it. I like the way that you broke down to kind of move towards that ultimate objective. And we do have something in our MLS system called prospects that allows us to give monthly reports on an area. Yeah, so that's definitely something I would implement and start to use as an effective tool.
I think we even started talking about that on a prior call, Steve, where you were able to send them out information on updating them about their neighborhood. And you and I were talking about setting up that system where they get immediate notification when their neighbor lists their house. And the challenge I think most people make when they do that, this is part of RAMS as well, by the way. So when you get into your RAMS system, check this out. And we've got a lot of information, a whole section on it, a video on how to look at what I'm about to describe, and then the context and as well as language you can use. But when you do it, you don't want to give them a big area, okay? Because they're not in the market. You want to make it really narrow, though, because they are very curious about the neighbor next door, or the neighbor maybe a couple doors up, right in their immediate block. And so you can set it up in the MLS for them to get immediate notification when anybody on that block lists their house, because they're driving in and out of their neighborhood each day, say going to work or coming home, and they're driving by and they see a sign pop up. A sign just popped up the street from me. And of course, my wife's like, what's going on with that house? Because everybody wants to know what's immediate. Now, if it was a block or two over, it'd be like, oh, okay, well, somebody lists their house. But just right on your own block, you're like, whoa, what is that? What's going on? And so if you can set it up in the MLS so they get immediate access, I would do immediate access on these, immediate send outs when that property lists, because it's going to be extremely rare. We're talking one listing a year, maybe two at the most. We're only talking about that block, maybe slightly more than the block if you can look on a map and see how they're driving in and out of their neighborhood. I wouldn't do any more than that. But if you can do a super narrow, so this is something for your PCSOI, could be also something that you're offering for some of these folks that you're meeting. The system that I offered is more generic. It's, hey, here's the value of your property. It is going to show neighbors outside of that area, but it's only going to go out once a month. It's not like this immediate idea, that immediate neighborhood notification concept. Let me give one other idea, and then we're going to move on, Steve, because you brought up an interesting idea, and that is we talk about the PCSOI, and I keep wanting to get this idea in everybody's head. The PCSOI is the most valuable thing you do. It's towards the bottom of the funnel. It's not the bottom of the funnel, but it's towards the bottom of the funnel. If you have a funnel here, it's towards that lower part of the cup of the funnel. Right? It's the value that a lot of people in that group are going to either refer or repeat with you. So you want to spend the majority of your time there, about 80% of your time. There is a level above it, and that is more of a generic part of your funnel, what people call the database and the database marketing. And that's an awesome group, and you should absolutely work that as well, but less, maybe 20% of your time, because the lower funnel is going to produce the majority of your business. But if it's not producing enough business, you need the upper part, which is the database. So super agents been around a long time. They really have built their data. We say database, they really built their PCSOI up, where that PCSOI is generating enough business. They don't have to do anything else. And that's what everybody's dream is, right? Well, they got there because they had the second level as well that they're putting people into. So you were talking about going around and knocking on doors around a listing. To me, that's that second group. That's what I call the database. And let me wrap this up in a nice bow here. So for instance, if you wanted to do 100 closings, if you were going to do it out of the PCSOI, you'd need about 500 people, okay? But if you were going to do it out of the database, you need about 10,000 people, because they're different connections to you. They're not as tight. So if you can get that in your mind, you know what you're doing, right? I'm reaching out to all my people in the PCSOI a lot, very frequently, at least monthly, if not double monthly, and it's this time of year, maybe weekly, right? Because I'm trying to get in front of them because I know that they know people who are going to be moving if they're not doing it themselves. And they like me and they're going to refer me, right? So I want to get in touch with them first. But then that database up there, the larger group are these people that you meet randomly and you're kind of dropping them in. But I don't want you to miss them. I don't want you to not capture them. That's the whole point of this conversation is, Steve, you somehow they got into your world and it just turned into a listing from 2 years ago. My point is, if you had captured their contact information, you would know that they would be reaching out to you when the time came. Does that make sense? That's why I'm trying to get to you and to everybody else.
Yeah.
Get that concept in your mind of what you're doing. I'm working my PCSOI, but I got that database that I'll go ahead and just drop people into when I'm meeting people on the peripheral.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you, Mike. Very clear.
You bet. All right, cool. All right, good job, Stephen. I'm real excited for you. Thank you for letting me pontificate there. So who else has some good news? All right, been a slow week maybe for the rest of the good newsers. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to share some good news. I've been playing around a little bit in the market, and I just had somebody reach out. I'm going to go on a listing appointment on Thursday, and so I'm pretty excited about that to check it out and kind of get my feet wet again. Guess where that business came from?
PCSOI.
PCSOI.
Wow.
I hadn't talked to these people in 30 years when I helped them buy a house. And they found me. Because I'm not doing any formal PCSOI marketing yet. I was challenged not to do that. I think I'm going to change that. But I was challenged not to do that. And so I didn't at the beginning of the year. And these people reached out to me all these years later. Okay. That is the power of PCSOI. I didn't do any marketing to these people for almost 20 years, if I were to guess, well, at least 15 years. And they reached out to me. Okay. So that's the power of PCSOI. That's why if you do some marketing and reach out to them, it can be so powerful.
That's awesome, Mike. Now, let me ask you this. Had they called a year ago, what would you have told them then?
I'd refer them out to somebody.
That's what I'm
I'd say,
thinking.
I can't help you. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, here you've already, just because you've said, okay, I'm open for business again, you're letting them come in. That's amazing. Wow. What a
The
powerful story.
universe works in weird ways, doesn't it, Blake? Yeah. The point of my story is the power of that connection you created with them. This is a couple that I helped them buy their first home. They were young. I was young. And a lot of really cool things out of the story. I'll make it fast. They're the ones who I share the story all the time of you never know which house they're going to pick. Because we had, I used to like to show a lot of houses at once and just let them pick. I just know they pick. So I just show them everything in their price range. I just go, hey, we're going to just tour everything. Just go. And that was my approach. And so I'm showing them all these properties. And of course, I think I know which house they're going to pick. It's this perfect dolled out house, just in amazing shape. And we walk in, they go, yeah, this is nice. I'm like, nice, this is great. But I know enough to be quiet. I'm just like, okay, tell me what you're thinking. Okay. And I'm like, why are they not picking this house? And I'm like, all right, they're like, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. I'm like, oh, the next one. I don't think it sounded that good, but let's go. Okay, we go to the next one. And the next one is a dog. The next one needs so much work. It's all rough, just looks terrible. They're like, oh yeah, this one. This is the one. This is the one we want. I'm like, what are they doing? What is going on? And I said, well, why are you picking this house? Oh, we just like it. We really like it. And later, like a week later, I found out their grandma lived on the next block. and they want it to be near grandma. I didn't know that. They never told me that. So that's why you got to let them pick the house. They have to make these decisions, and you're not always privy to what's going on. Anyway, that's the same couple. It's this couple. And so they just reached back out to me and said, yeah, we've been living in our house all this time. We're really happy. We're not moving, but we got to sell grandma's house. Like, okay, great. All right. So anybody else have some good news you want to share?
I have some good news. I have the listing on the market for lease, and we got an offer yesterday. So it looks like a good offer. So I'm meeting with my client this evening to review it and hopefully get this wrapped up and off the market.
Awesome, Tristan. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mike.
Where did that business come from?
Oh, this client is actually my first ever client in real estate. So, and
Look at that.
I got that client from I used to coach soccer and I was going to a coaching course. And in the course, one of the icebreakers was name a recent accomplishment you're proud of. And mine was that last week I got my real estate license. And she was in the class and she's like, hey, I'm thinking of buying a place. So that was my first ever client. So she ended up moving to the other side of the country, but she still rents out this unit here.
That's beautiful. What a great thing. Congratulations. Now, have you been reaching her out to her through your PCSOI?
Yeah, we stay in touch. Like I'll message her on her birthday or um, she also had a client, I mean, a tenant last year, so at least her property then. So we've been staying in touch throughout the years.
That is fantastic. Congratulations, Tristan. Yeah, that is good news. And Tristan's doing rental and sales. Rental is a whole other animal. You got to know, you got to be confident you want to get in there because it's a lower income generating. It's more consistent income, but it's a lower profit margin business. But if you're okay with that, that's a really cool business model because it spits out consistent business over time, right? You're getting these little teeny checks as you're doing the management. And then every once in a while, they want to buy or sell to add or sell off from their portfolio. If you're working with investors or even somebody who doesn't want to be an investor, they're kind of a unintentional investor where like this person who moved across the country and kept their property. So it's an interesting model. There are some top agents that use that model. Patrick Tuttle is one that pops to mind. He's built up his, I think, to 300 rentals. I think I got that right. And maybe 100 sales a year. So it's a cool little model if you're comfortable with that. And I think Angela has some experience with that model as well. Is that right, Angela?
I do, yes. The brokerage I was at previously, we got up to 500 doors, and yeah, and like our top sales year, 268. So
Yeah, so that's an interesting model as well. But just make sure if you get into that, you want to do property management because it's a lot of work. Number one. Number two, make sure your brokerage is willing to do property management because not all brokerages want to get into that because of all the accounting, because of all the escrow accounts and so forth you have to have. All right, cool. Good job, Tristan. All right, anybody else got some good news you'd like to share today?
I'll go ahead and just say that I have a listing that we went under contract about a week and a half ago. They were able to squeeze in their inspections and the appraisal yesterday before the snowstorm hits Oklahoma. So luckily that's really good news because I was getting nervous that things might get behind and we might have to extend some things. But yeah, so far it seems like no big surprises.
Congratulations, Angela. That's fantastic.
Way to
Thank
go.
you.
And remind us, where did that business come from?
PCSOI.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it? Cool. Good job. Good job. All right. Anybody else want to share any good news?
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So we have -6 in Chicago today.
Woo!
So that's why I feel kind of cold a little bit. So I have a good news. Yeah, I ran like on Friday the giveaway Valentine's Day, which you might promote. So like total we engaged like around maybe 1,200 people. We posted like on Facebook, Instagram. I send the emails for all my past clients. So it's like around 650 kind of total. Not only past clients, it's like all database, around like 650 people. And it like how many 41 person was attend on this kind of wheel, which you might share. So, and my two past clients won some gift for $100, for $50, and some random person like won $25. And yeah, I already kind of like send them the gift cards, and yeah, it's cool, nice experience. Like you, Mike, told us, like yeah, people like it, and again, like it's like only 41% like decided to kind of be on this kind of like list of giveaways, but like the video which I made on Facebook Live and I posted on my page, it's like 1,200 people just watched this video. It means that so many people decided to watch, but like only 40 like person decided just to attend. This is kind of funny for
That
me.
is fantastic, Yevon. Congratulations. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of you for jumping in there and taking advantage of the opportunity to do the Valentine's Day giveaway. Sounds like you knocked it out of the park. Did you use the guide to help you set it up?
Yeah, I used the guide I sent to my assistant and he made it. Kind of like he transformed a little bit the words. And because we put like winter client appreciation and Valentine's Day. Because again, like I have so many like, different clients, different people. I just want to kind of be, more open. So not just, Valentine's Day, because like if just, like girls will watch on me, maybe it will be strange. I will give them like $100 giveaway cards. So I just put like, yeah, clients appreciation, like, and Valentine's Day as well. So just to make, clear.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. Uh, a, a couple of great points here. So, Yevon is like most of the people on this call, which I something I really appreciate, and that is he's an action taker. He's an action taker. He had this idea and he took action on it very quickly, implemented it, and got this great feedback in that he put on this event. Couple other things. So, Yevon has 41 people that participated in the event. And you're like, well, the event touched 41 people. Actually, the event touched 650 people that he invited. And because of social media leverage, it sounds like it actually went out to 1,200 people. Am I getting all that correct?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Something that I think is interesting, if you don't mind, I just want to dig in on real quick because I think it's just the way I kind of look at things. So you've got this, you said you went out to 650 people. Is that your PCSOI?
It's all together.
Yeah. What is in that group? Is it mainly past clients, sphere of influence, random people that you got on an internet lead? Who's in there?
It's like all past tenants, like my tenants from my properties, like all past clients, all people who reach out to me from like internet. Yeah, because I always ask for emails and just add it to my, like list of this kind of clients. And like I said, I just start build it like maybe 2.5 years ago. So it's kind of like not all clients, but whatever I have, and I try to get it more and more and more, like, but I'm not adding the people who is like, for me, looks like not super, how to say, like, I personally don't want to like work with them. So like, I'm just trying to not add them to this list.
Yes, that's a wise choice. Anybody that you don't like, you don't want to put into your PCSOI. If for whatever reason you're just
Yeah.
conflicting with them when you work together, don't feel bad about that. It happens to all of us for a variety of reasons. I was actually just thinking yesterday about a story where I went with a couple. I was getting along fine with the couple, but I went into a house. We went into the backyard. We could look down on other neighbors' yards, and we were on a deck. And there was a dog barking like crazy in the yard next door that we could see down on. And the wife turned to the husband and said, we can't buy this house because that dog is there. And the husband turned back to her and said, that dog won't be there anymore. And I said, I can't work with these people anymore. I got to get out of this deal, because he was serious. So we closed, but I did not put them in my PCSOI. I put them on my dead file list. I was not going to work with them again. That scared the snot out of me.
Yeah, because
So
wife can say like, I don't like the agent, right? Like
it was, yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. I did not want to begin on that list. Yeah, their list. So you should have a maybe a letter D for dead or something. I keep them in the database so they don't come back in and accidentally get back in my group. So I keep them in there. I don't delete them, but they go to the side. They're no longer going to have constant reach outs. Yeah, but I want to keep on this just for another second, because I think it could be valuable. You've got this group that you're reaching out to. Let me ask this follow-up question first. Do most of the closings that you have come from this group of 650 people?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. And how many closings did you have last year?
54.
54. And your goal this year is
75.
75. And you believe that it will come out of that group. And I think you're right. And so what I think everybody should pick up on is Yevon has this, remember the funnel. Yevon's got that PCSOI. He's built out his bottom of the PCSOI, that PCSOI base. He probably has a number. I haven't asked him that number yet. Do you know the number, Yevon, of the 650? How many you would call PCSOI?
No, actually.
Yeah, that's okay. I got that impression. But there's this group, a massive group in there that's the PCSOI. And then on top of that are also some database people. You said they were internet leads. You got their contact information. Yeah. You're going to follow up with them, which you just did as an example of the event. That group is 650. Everybody listening just generated 50 closings, 53 closings. Think about that ratio. Think about the ratio. That's about 8%, right? And the top PCSOI agent, a solo agent, top agent, is going to be getting somewhere between 5 to 20%. And those top agents tend to be in the 10 to 20% mark, right? So, Yevon, right. If we can figure out what that actual group is for your PCSOI, we know that if you work it really well, which, by the way, everything I'm hearing about you doing really well, my guess is that's generating the majority of your business right now, and it's popping out somewhere higher. Probably the 15, 20% is coming out of your PCSOI, and then just a couple dabbles are coming out of that rest of that group. You want the rest of the group because it's adding, but you want to focus your energy and efforts on that PCSOI. And so if you can identify it, you'll know which group you want to reach out to all the time on the most frequent reach outs and the most valuable reach outs. And then you reach out to the whole group like you just did with this very simple to run event. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the ratios. That's really awesome. Did everybody pick up on that? That's kind of where you want to move to. Cool. That's cool. And really proud of you again for putting on the event. Would you do another event? Do you like events?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I would like to do the same on springtime. Why not? I mean, like, yeah, it's a lot of engagement, yeah, and like people like it. And actually, like the lady who won like $100 gift card, she working with me like last month already. Kind of, she wants to buy a house, and yeah, it's nice because like it's kind of push her kind of a little bit maybe closer for me, because like she working plus she received the gift. I mean, maybe we can buy a house faster. I don't know.
Right. That's awesome. And that event is very inexpensive to run. You just said you had a $100 gift card, a $50 gift card, $25 gift card. That's $175. Right? I mean, come on, to reach out to your whole group for $175. Plus you did some mail. How much did the mail cost?
What kind of mail do you mean?
Did you say you mailed out to them or emailed out?
Oh, no, emails. I'm sorry, emails. Oh, okay. Only email.
So email, that's cheap as well. That's just your time, maybe your system set up. So this is a very low budget deal. And then you put it out on social media. This
Yeah,
is
we posted on our like Facebook group and posted for like a few Facebook groups as well. So
good. And so do you have your own Facebook group?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's what a
It's
lot
small,
of the
but
top agents do also, right? And
right.
then you've invited people into your group. That's another part or segment of your PCSOI, right?
Yeah,
It's only the people that you've invited in. And the reason I assume you did it as a group is because when you reach out, it actually gets out to those people as opposed to, say, a like or a friend, right? When you have them in that group, the odds of them receiving your message go way up.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
very.
small group. It's kind of like 95 people, but it's kind of like people who probably like close to me. And we try to put like more people. So it will be, yeah, bigger. We just started doing like a couple months ago, the Facebook group.
This is awesome. And the power, as Blake knows, I keep picking on Blake as we joked about so much, but the power of the event is in the invitation. The power of the event is in the invitation. So inviting all those people, that was the touch. Perfect time of year. I also liked what you just said, and that is you want to do it again in the spring, right? You want to do it again here within a month or so, because you know that Chicago is going to warm up. You're -6.
Yes.
We're at 4 degrees today. I get you.
Right.
But Chicago is going to warm up here pretty fast. And as it does, so does the desire to move. It warms up also in all these markets. So here, I can't remember if you were with us last time I shared it, so I'm going to share it again real quick. There's an idea for an event to do next month. That would be St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is coming up the middle of next month. And here's just a quick outline for an idea to consider. You could do the event exactly like you just did the event. You could do that, right? It'll work. It'll be easy to just switch it over and call it a St. Patty's Day event. The structure
Right.
is there. Everything is there. Very easy to whip over. Another thing you might consider, if you have addresses for these folks, especially for your core PCSOI, is you might do it this way. Do you have lottery in Chicago?
Yes, we do.
Of course, pretty much everybody has lottery now for the government to earn more tax. Anyway, whatever. The government earns more taxes on all that, so they love lottery. And so anyway, lottery, though, you can use this to your advantage. Can you buy a scratch-off ticket in your area, everybody? Yeah. Okay, so you can buy a scratch-off lottery ticket. Used to be $1, now I guess it's maybe $2. So you could go buy, say, 100 of those tickets, and you could mail them out to 100 of your PCSOI and put it in a little card with a little personal note. Hey, just thinking about you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you have the luck of the Irish. And you sign your name and you drop that card in and you send it out. And if they win the $1 million, maybe they'll come buy a house from you. But either way, it's a beautiful little touch. They're like, oh my gosh, Yevon just thought of me and he sent me out a lottery card. How cool is that? And they're all excited, right? Because they don't know if they're going to win or not. And there's a little bit of excitement there. They might win $1 million or maybe $2 or maybe nothing, but it doesn't matter. They're going to get that little shot of adrenaline and it's tied into your name. So that might be something to consider. And if you send it out to 100 people, that's a $200 deal. It's the same cost as the other event.
Yeah. It's a nice one.
Yeah, these events become really fun when you start to think about what their purpose is. And again, I didn't just create this on my own. It's the top agents. They used to do these giant galas and spend tens of thousands of dollars once a year. And what they realized was the power wasn't in the gala, this big event. The power was in the invitation. And so what they start to do is think of how can I do more frequent events and smaller events. And I would hear people doing like putt events. No, they would do these smaller events, go get ice cream at the ice cream parlor or go do a cafe, love you a latte event, right, at a coffee shop. They do all these smaller events. And eventually they realized they could do these things even monthly. Some of the top teams, they're doing them monthly, and they're just making these little events like we're talking about here, like what Yevon just did with the Valentine's Day giveaway, where it's a small little event, but it's reaching out to a lot of people, and it's a fun, friendly way to get out in front of people, right? Yevon, did you call anybody and invite them to the event?
No.
Okay. Do you feel you could have, though, a nice, easy, fun event like this? Would it have been a lot easier than, say, calling them up and saying, hey, are you thinking about buying or selling real estate this year? Do you know anybody else thinking about buying or selling real estate this year? That would be one phone call. The other phone call is, hey, I'm doing a Valentine's Day event, a client appreciation event, and I'm giving away a gift card for $100. Do you want to enter? Which
Yeah,
phone
makes
call
sense.
is easier?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I didn't think about it.
That's
Next time,
okay.
yeah, probably I need to call.
And you don't have to call all 650. You could just call your top 10 or your top 25, right? The
Makes
people that
sense.
send you the most referrals, just do, those are the people that get a little more personal touch from you. They get that phone call or they get a text message or whatever, that little more personal touch. They get a little private card. You send them out to, hey, I want to make sure you got invited to this event. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Thanks.
You betcha. You bet. Was that helpful, everyone? All right.
It
Did
was.
anybody else do the Valentine's Day giveaway event?
Mike, I just wanted to share real quick that I read a study that people only get 7 to 10 pieces of personal mail a year. So sending those notes is really powerful, especially. So I love the idea of sending them something fun. It's a great way to not be salesy and just say hi.
You are absolutely correct. And people keep it, especially older folks. They really appreciate these handwritten gestures. I've been going through my mom's house, helping her clean it out. And she has boxes of the personal notes, the notes where somebody wrote something personal on it. People keep that. I mean, we're talking stuff was kept for 10, 20, 30, 40 years just because somebody had made a personal note. You're absolutely correct, Angela. That's a great stat. I hadn't heard that stat. You said 7 to 10. Yeah, yeah, powerful stuff. And Blake was doing that earlier in the year around Christmas. If I recall, he had a gratitude month where he was writing out personal calls. Do you think that was valuable, Blake, now that we're a couple months away from it?
Oh yeah, no question. In fact, just maybe it might have been a week ago or so, I ran into somebody that had received one of those cards, and that person said, "Hey, Blake, that card you sent me really meant a lot to me. Thank you for thinking of me." And they said, "I've been meaning to tell you, you know." So I thought that was great. And I got a lot of those comments not long after I'd sent the cards, but in fact, some people texted me and even sent me a picture of the card, opened and sitting on their desk. So I think it's the most valuable thing you could do, just about, other than maybe going and seeing them face to face.
That's right, Blake. You bet. There's definitely a pecking order, and it's up there. Um,
But it's also unique because it memorializes your thoughts about them, and that's huge. It really is. You're almost and if you're just meeting together, you may or may not say some of the things that you are thoughtfully writing down on a card, an appreciation card.
I would
So
not be surprised to find some of your cards on people's refrigerators, right?
I would think
It
that's
was
right. Yeah.
personal. It touched them, as you said, this person did, and they put it up on their refrigerator to read it daily, to take a look at it, to remind themselves maybe they're in a tough spot right now, and to remind themselves that they have value and they feel good in the world. And
Yeah.
you're the one who helped them make that connection and get that boost. Um, it's powerful. It, I know this sounds weird. I don't know if you're a really hardcore business person, some of this sounds weird. It used to sound really weird to me. I'm just going to tell you in case you're one of those people. I used to think, why do you do all this touchy, feely stuff? Come on, let's get back to business. This is business. And It took me years to figure out the power of this. And one of the ways you can see it is when NAR, National Association of Realtors, does their study each year, and they've asked buyers and sellers, how did you find your agent? And inevitably, every year, the number one answer is it was a friend or family member. It was a referral from a friend or family member or somebody already knew. So it's this close connection. That's the number one way people find real estate agents, is the close connection. And all you're doing in this PCSOI and RAMS agents that we're building out is just building closer connections and deeper connections. That's where a ton of business comes from. That's just where the business comes from. People feel good about you, they're going to work with you and refer you. If they feel bad about you, they're not going to work with you and they're not going to refer you. Simple, right? And we're just trying to amplify the people that already have a great connection with us, deepen those relationships, and make sure that they remember us, that we're top of mind when they're bumping into people.
Mike, that brings to mind a conversation I had with my son just Sunday, actually. So I've got my listing that's been difficult. Well, we had an offer that came in over the weekend, and we were working that offer basically, and it still is possibly in play, but I think it's over. But what happened was, we couldn't come to agreement between these two parties. The list price on the house is $275,000. So the initial offer came in at 260. We got it to 265. Anyway, we ended up being $5,000 apart. And this is with a lot of the other variables, all the other things. We worked all that out, but $5,000 apart. And my son asked me, he said, Dad, why? I mean, how can it be? Why is that going to keep the thing from coming together? Can they not come up with more money, or the seller just say, okay, I'll sell it to you for less? And I said, you're right, Mitchell. If it was just a business action, either one of those parties should look at that and say, let's not let $5,000 keep this from happening because we want the house, or we want to sell it. But I said, Mitchell, real estate and people's homes can be very emotional. And I said, this lady who's selling her home, it's her heart. She's going to have a hard time saying goodbye to this house, even though she doesn't live there. And it's really emotional for them. And I said, we just got to give people some grace on this and let them know, or let him know, that it's emotional. And that kind of goes back to what you're saying with the cards and with touching people personally, that emotional connection is just as important with their agent, I think, as it is with their property.
Blake, it's a great example and a great insight that we should always remember that people make decisions based on emotion, and they justify with logic. I'd write that down. If you don't already know that, people make decisions with emotion and they justify with logic. People make decisions with emotion and they justify with logic. That applies to when they're buying and selling real estate. And important in our world, it applies to when people are hiring you. They are making an emotional decision on whether they like you or not. And then they want to justify that decision with logic. So that's why you give them some stats, you give them some of your background, you give them some of your success, give them some of your testimonials. But they've made the emotional decision on whether they're going to hire you or not within the first, if you're meeting a stranger, it's within the first 5 to 10 seconds. They're making do I like this person or not? They're making that quick connection. When we're doing PCSOI, you've already overcome that barrier. They already like you. So there's already the emotional connection. But if you go out and list a lot of strangers, which I did, remember I took 21 listings in 30 days, those were all strangers. You have to make a quick emotional connection with them. and then you justify why they should hire you with logic. But they made that decision fast when they first met you. You can see it in their eyes, and then they're just kind of trying to justify it. That's the rest of the presentation of why it should be done and how it should be done, and that you're the right person to do it. But they've either decided or not decided. I've had it where you walk in and you can just tell it, you're not getting this listing. You didn't connect. You just didn't connect. You can tell afterwards. You could spend 2 hours there and they are never going to hire you. You just didn't connect at the beginning. So it is emotional. I like your insight on that, Blake. And I want to, I know we're running out of time, but I think it might be valuable for people or to hear just a quick idea. You said you were $5,000 apart on a 275 property and it didn't come together. I'd like to hear what the group has to say for ideas on how you could have brought them together over the $5,000. Anybody have any comments that you'd like to give Blake on how they could have bridged the gap of the $5,000? Has anybody been in that position where two parties move together, and then they stop so close? Like, what the heck happened? Right? And Blake says, well, it was the emotions, and it definitely was. Is there a way to bridge that? Is anybody done that and they get that close and they figured out, how do I solve that problem? Like Blake, if he could have solved that problem last week, he'd be having a property under contract, not just listed. And that's what I'm asking everybody. Do you have an answer for Blake of how he could have bridged the gap?
I was in that situation before, and I bridged the gap by reducing my commission to make the difference. The reason why I did that is because these particular clients, they were only going to sell their other house if they were able to buy this specific house. So I knew that, okay, even if I cut my commission on this with the buy, I'm going to make my full commission when they're going to subsequently sell their house.
And it
But
worked?
yeah, it worked. It got the deal done. But I'm curious what your solution is.
Tristan, did you throw in the entire gap out of your commission?
No, it's maybe 20% of the buy.
And then the parties figured out the difference?
Yeah, the other agent had to reduce some of their commission too.
The other agent threw in. Okay, so let me just give my quick 2 cents on that. Number one, whatever the business decision you make, it's the right business decision. Okay, let's just start there. Number two, I will say that I always had a rule, I never threw my commission in. I've seen people do it. I've seen them throw in their commission. I've seen them buy refrigerators and washers and dryers and all kinds of stuff to make a deal to come together. That's awesome. I think it's great. It's a great business decision for them. I just want you guys to know, for me, I never did that. I never ever threw my commission in because they were separate. These are the parties. They're the ones that have their property on the line or their desires on the line, and me, I'm just the person helping them get there. And I'm not going to throw in my money to make that happen. I just wanted you to know that. Tristan, I think that was a really cool answer, and it's one that I would hear most often. Good job getting it done. Anybody else having a way to bridge the gap?
I mean, in general, like it's like, I think like we all do, we ask the buyer agent, if you represent the seller, just to put like SEs on the contract and add the gap waiver for price if it's something happened, and just tell to the seller, okay, we have like 2 layers of protection. First, it's gonna be SEs. Next one, it's gonna be like, gap for appraisal. And if you wanna go further, you can ask to put like no inspection. It's
so
tough,
what
but
you're
it's
doing
kind of
is
like,
looking
oh,
for
whatever
other,
contingency you can remove.
you're looking for other terms. Instead of
Right.
going to price, you're going to go to terms. So
Right.
tell us that again real quick. Give me the answer.
I mean, the first, it's like put SEs on the contract. Okay, this first condition, like the second one is gonna be like gap waiver for appraisal. And then the last one, it's kind of like no inspection. In
Right.
this
So
case, like you
you're
can add
taking
additional
items
kind of,
away from the buyer and giving them to the seller, terms.
right. Yeah, and just save the price, because I'm also like you, Mike, I am never kind of like put my commission on the table. I try to negotiate like in different ways, but not on my commission.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I'll go
we're
up.
all different.
I'll
Huh?
negotiate up on my commission.
Yeah, if you want the deal for seller, yes.
By the way, I'm not saying one's right or wrong. I want to
Of
get that
course.
clear. Tristan, whatever you did as an example, I think that's fantastic. Whatever, because you were in the moment. It's easy for me to be the Monday morning quarterback and tell you what we would have done. You were in the moment. You had to make that decision. It's just Yevon and I kind of have a policy in our head that we're not going to make a change there. And you get to decide what you will or won't do when the occasion arises. I just want people to know that you don't have to do that. I like what Yevon did, by the way, which is he threw in other terms. That's an excellent way to go. One of the variables is time. You can move the closing forward or backwards to meet exactly what your client needs. That would be another example. Services, taking value away or giving value to the other side, because as Yevon was doing that, I assume sometimes the buyer goes, oh, no, I don't want to get rid of my appraisal clause. I'll go ahead and just pay the price. Did that happen? I mean, what happens? How did they come together?
No, sorry, just do you ask like about like when I represent the seller or the buyer? Because like sometimes it's the opposite way of negotiation.
Either one. I think you were talking with the seller and you were working
Yes.
with the seller and you were saying, hey, take the lower price, but we'll pull value away from the buyer by eliminating their inspection clause or eliminating their appraisal clause or putting a cap on it.
Yeah, for example, like if yeah, it's Blake, yes, okay. I mean, like if for example, like we talk about 5,000, right? Like people like can put SCs on the contract, so it means like when they do, of course, inspection, they not will ask for something to repair, and for gap, yes, it's kind of will be priced fixable, and I will explain to the seller you're not going to lose the money, whatever is on the contract, you're going to receive it. And yeah, it's kind of like again, just I mean, I not see it's like a super kind of like nice leverage for negotiation, but it's give us an additional kind of picture, kind of give to seller like where I mean like in which position he can win the deal, you know, like even if he give away like $5,000, he can save the price in a long term, I mean in the long run.
You were giving a logical answer to an emotional decision. Take less money, that's emotional decision. Logical answer, I'll sell as is. And I apologize, Yevon, I wasn't understanding the word as is because of the accent. I do apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I thought you were saying ES, and I'm like, ES, I don't get it, but as is, I totally get it. I'm sure everybody else got it, but I wasn't hearing it. As is, that is a powerful statement to say, basically, we're selling as is. You can have your inspection, but we're not going to make any changes or repairs. And then remember this final part. If you can get the parties to sign, they've agreed. That works in a buyer-seller negotiation, also works in listing appointments. If they sign that listing agreement, you're moving forward. So if you can get to the signature, everything is working out. I'll give a final couple of ideas. I really like Yevon's idea of moving the terms around, because its price is only one of the many terms. That's definitely an effective way to go. Here's one. You get to the end, the parties are just stuck and nothing's happening. You say this very famous phrase. Ready? Let's split the difference. You say that to your party and they say, well, maybe if they'll do it. And then I would talk to the other agent. I'd say, this is really tough. Do you think that your party would be willing to split the difference? I'd say, if I could get my guy or gal to do it, can you get your guy to do it? Does that make sense? Could we split the difference here? That'll often get people off of the bump because they realize they're both suffering. Okay, they're both going to have a little bit of pain and they'll come and meet to the middle.
Yeah, also you can add furniture.
Say again?
The furniture. You can put like furniture, you know, like on
furniture, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, another term, a little idea. All right, good job, everybody. We're going to wrap up this call. It was a good one. Let's go ahead. Thank you, everybody, for bringing up such great ideas. Is you like this format? Is this a helpful format? All right, cool. So good job today. What we'll do is let's go into our quick huddle real fast. So the number one thing you did yesterday to move your business forward, and the number one thing you're going to do today to move your business forward. Who would like to start?
I can jump in. Yesterday was locking down that listing, so that was the most important extra time to sit down with that guy because that is what clinched it. Today is, yeah, I'm really thinking now about our MLS system and that prospects mobile that we were talking about, and kind of using the two strategies. One, where I can, with a polygon, mark out their actual street or the route into their house, and then use prospects as the monthly market update. So I can really incorporate those two to utilize that technology the most. So I've been thinking about, as we sit here, I'm already kind of stoked to jump in and see if I can make that work with prospect.
Steve, that is excellent. By the way, that's in your RAMS agents, the quick start guide. Take a look at that for if you need more insight into it. But you are correct that it's two parts, right? You got the monthly reach out that goes out no matter what, and then you got this immediate notification, the immediate notification of your neighbor listing or selling their home because they want to know that. But it's just in that little narrow gap, and that is two parts. That would be two different items you do. One would be a quick search that you would set them up on, and the other would be this. The free CMA is the way I think about it, the free valuation that you would send out. Good job, Steve. I can't wait to hear how that plays out. Who else has some good? Who else has their number one thing they're doing today, and number one thing they did yesterday?
Next, number one thing yesterday was 3 showings to a buyer client looking for a duplex. And number one thing for today is sending out my monthly newsletter.
Good job, Tristan. I can't wait to hear about that monthly newsletter. Good job, and good job on the showings. All right, who else?
I'll go here. Yesterday, I would say working with my sellers and the buyer on working through that negotiation. One great thing, even if a sale doesn't happen or a contract isn't completed, then you still get the benefit of knowing a good bit more about your seller. For one thing, you get a better feel for really where they are, and you also have them understand the market better too, because they're seeing the wall that they're going to run into if they don't get more flexible. So there's benefit to that. Today, my number one thing, I have an open house I'm going to be scheduling, or that is scheduled for Sunday. Another property that is not my listing, but it's with Epic, my brokerage, and I am looking forward to this property because it's a really good location that agent had a lot of success with recently with an open house there.
That's fantastic, Blake. I got to do a couple of quick follow-up questions. I apologize, everybody, but I got to ask, did you say the deal died yesterday with the $5,000?
It actually is dead, yes, but
But it was yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday, last night at 9 p.m. is when everything expired.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
Right.
So I would contact your seller because now they've had the night to get buyer's remorse, seller's remorse, and reach back out to your seller and say, hey, look, I know we didn't quite get there. We were $5,000 off. If I can get them to split the difference with us, would you do that? I bet you their answer is going to be yes. The buyer's been having sit on it for a night going, I didn't get that property. I really wanted it. And now you go back to the other agent. Once your seller has told you, yeah, your client, you go back to the other agent, say, hey, I don't know if I can pull this off. You don't tell me your client's agreed to it yet. So I don't know if I can pull this off, but do you think that we could split the difference? Do you think your client would go for it? Well, I don't know. Why don't you go talk to your client? I'll go talk to mine, and then we'll come back together. Notice the order. I already know my seller will do it, but I'm not going to present that to the buyer agent. I'm going to say, hey, I don't know if we can pull this off or not, because I don't. And so why don't you go talk to your client? Let's get back together in an hour. You might be able to still pull this thing together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've already been in communication after the expiration with both parties, trying to revive it in a different way. I haven't used the.
Did you do it today or yesterday?
Last night. I haven't gotten to speak.
See, they've had time to sleep on it now that it's dead.
Yeah.
And that's where the remorse falls in.
I spoke to them last night. My sellers, there's multiple cities involved and they have to get in touch with each other to talk about what I talked about last night. And you're right. The overnight sleep helps everybody get a little bit clearer in their head. Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Well,
Blake. Good
I will
luck.
certainly be talking with them when we get off this.
Good luck on that. I
Thank
do
you.
want to say one other statement. Again, I apologize for going long, but open houses in an area that you want to work can be powerful. I've got another coaching client. I'm working with her on this. She wants to move into the luxury $1 million to $2 million in her area. So I said, let's go. Why don't you go do an open house in that area? Because she likes doing open houses. She went and did an open house last weekend in I think it was 1.2 or 1.4, right? She had 7 people come through. Out of that, she picked up a buyer for 500,000, a second buyer for 700,000, and 2 sellers from the neighborhood. I'm like, I've never heard of that kind of result. That's amazing. But when you do something kind of unique, like that was a very unique listing in the upper end. Anyway, it's just something to think about if you want to move into a market. You might try to do an open house there to capitalize on it. So good luck with that, setting that up for this weekend, Blake. All right, who else would like to go? Anybody else?
Okay, I'll go. So yesterday I walked through a commercial office building and met with the property manager. They are interested in getting some help with leasing. And then today I am gonna do my 3 reach outs, and I need to create my monthly newsletter. I did my market stats yesterday, so I'm ready to add that to the newsletter and then complete it so I can send it out this week.
That is awesome, Angela. Super happy and proud to hear that you're staying on your daily metrics, right? Angela set metrics at a level that was really easy to attain, so she could build up that habit, that muscle of repeating it, and she's been doing it. And doesn't it feel great, Angela, to be doing it every day?
It does, and I use my morning time to I have my daily, my yearly, my quarterly, and my daily things that I am wanting to achieve. Look at that in the morning. I actually predetermine who I'm going to talk to during the morning time too. And so that helps while I'm getting ready. I'm brainstorming, and then I'm ready to go. So
That is awesome, Angela. Congratulations. All right, Tristan, did we get yours yet? I can't remember. Yeah, we did. Good. Steve, did we got yours? Blake? All right, cool. So we got everybody taken care of. That's fantastic. Yesterday, I worked on prepping for this listing, and today I'll continue to do that. All right, everybody, have a fantastic and productive rest of your day. Thanks for being here.